everyone, and welcome to another edition of King Me Rev's Hype Pass. Whoa, my God, I can't even say my own words. The Hype Podcast, the show where we shine a spotlight on mental health through the stories and experiences of our guests. Today, I have a very special one for you. He is someone who is a cut above the rest, right? We are not talking about some lukewarm microwave nonsense. We got a heavyweight in the kitchen tonight. The chef, Peter Gianni from Test of Strength, cooking up results, and he's going to hit harder than a cast iron skillet. Boom. Chef, thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me. Much appreciated.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited for this one. You know, I've been doing my research a little bit, and for anybody who didn't, go please see the Rainbow Rumble, because the chef was just on and he was gracious with his time. But we have a lot in common. I noticed that from a couple of the podcasts I'd seen you on YouTube. You were in the Army. I was in the Army. So today's curveball, since I am a baseball fan, I wanted to start it out with a little bit of a curveball and ask, what was your MOS? Oh, so you're one of those hoo-hoos. Is that what you're telling me?
You could say that, I guess.
All right. 92 Alpha, automated logistical specialist. I was in Fort Knox, Kentucky, and then I went to what was then Fort Lee, Virginia for my AIT. It was like 11 months or something. I can't remember the name of it now. I think it's like Fort Briggs something, because there was about 8 different military installations that had to change their name because they were named after Confederate soldiers, apparently.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Right? The Fort Lee was one of them. Which, when you're 17, you don't give 2 cares.
Nah, not at all.
Like, listen, I'm just here because they told me to be here.
Yeah, I spent all my time in Fort Carson, Colorado.
Got it. So yeah, where do they do training for that these days?
Benning.
Benning?
Fort
Okay.
Benning, yeah.
Fort Benning.
Georgia.
That's
For
right.
the regular I think is like 10 weeks basic, and then I did the rest of it in the same spot for AIT.
Right. With all those hoo-hoos, man. That's what they. So yeah, no, I definitely it's because I signed up when I was 17. So my oldest son, as I would have had recently told you, his name is Shawn, and named after the great Shawn Michaels, who's one of my all-time favorites. That was the other great thing, was that when I was listening to you not only previously a minute ago, but previous to that on the YouTube, I heard you talk about your love of Ric Flair, and I have a huge love and respect for Ric Flair. I've gone to wrestling shows dressed up as Ric Flair in the full cosplay. There is the Worcester Red Sox down in Worcester, Massachusetts, obviously. They call themselves the Woo Sox. And anytime they get the Woo Sox. Anytime they get a strikeout or a home run or something, you actually can hear Ric Flair's woo all over the place.
I love that.
So I actually got my own custom. Today I'm actually wearing one of my other heroes. This is Bill Murray. All right, so I love you, Bill Murray. But I got a custom shirt made because I figured it's Ric Flair. It is a Ric Flair Woo Sox crossover shirt. I had it in a hat. I had them specially made just to go to the inaugural opening season of the Woo Sox. So it was funny because me and JJ went and did the tour. We toured the whole building. Do you ever watch baseball? Are you a baseball guy?
I used to be. I grew up playing baseball. I'm a big Red Sox fan, but I haven't watched baseball in years. I'm a football guy.
There you go. So, because the Woo Sox used to be the Paw Sox. They were out in Rhode Island. They moved over to Worcester. For their opening season, they had you could do it anytime, but for their opening season, we did the tour, and I had a lot of people staring at me because I have custom gear on that didn't exist in the shop downstairs. And after a while, a couple of security guards walked up to me and he was like, "Hey man, where'd you get that shirt at, bro? Because I've never seen a Woo Sox shirt with Ric Flair's face on it." And I was like, yeah, I kind of made this myself, so
They were pissed.
I was low key waiting for them, like, you can't do that, but I'm not selling it, so it's not illegal. There's a difference, right? So,
Exactly.
but yeah, Ric Flair's one of my guys. I actually showed up to a game, our second game ever, dressed as Ric Flair. I had, a full wig on. I had shades. I had my shades on, and I had watches and stuff and everything. And people were losing their minds. They were trying to buy me beer all day. It was great. So
Met him on it was a terminal train at Tampa International Airport. I was coming back from Tampa with a few friends. I think this was like January 2020 during COVID. Florida was still wide open. So we're trying to catch our plane back to Connecticut, and we're on the terminal train, and sitting right down the other end was Ric Flair. One of my friends goes, "Bro, I think that's Ric Flair." We're all wearing masks at this time, and I'm like, "Nah, that can't be. That can't be." The moment he stood up, I was like, "That's Ric Flair." So I had to go introduce myself to him. Yeah, I have a picture on my my personal Instagram with him. It was cool. A moment I'll always remember.
yeah, yeah, no, it's that's I've yet to meet him. We actually went to Rhode Island Comic Con this past year, and I wanted to meet him, but he's Ric Flair and he does what he wants, so he
Yeah,
left early. Basically, he just
sounds about
bounced.
right.
So, which is no different from WrestleCon. So I went to WrestleMania last year in Las Vegas. Me and my brother went to WrestleCon. I was fortunate enough to get a picture, a group photograph with Sting, Lex Luger, and Kevin Nash. And so it was a Wolfpack photo. We were all in Wolfpack gear, and Ric Flair was supposed to be there that day, and he was like 6 hours late, I think it was. So he was
Probably
late,
drunk. Probably
probably
drunk.
drunk, yeah. And Mike Tyson was late, which once again, who the hell is going to tell them what to do?
Yeah,
You
who's
know,
gonna say anything to Mike,
who's
bro?
good luck, bro. Good luck.
Yeah,
So,
nah.
um, so the crappy thing is I didn't get to meet him because of what happened. But the amazing thing was, and I mean no disrespect to anybody who had to do this, there were people who were waiting in line for 6 hours to meet him. And after a while, that line was wrapped around the building, basically. So what was happening was there's so many people in line waiting to meet Ric Flair. There were so many people in line waiting to meet the Hardy Boys, and there were so many people in line waiting to meet Tony Storm. It made everybody else widely available. So I was able to actually, I did the photo op with Sting and the guys, but then I was able to go up to them afterwards and talk to them one on one because there was nobody in line for Lex Luger, there was nobody in line for Sting, there was nobody
Crazy.
in line for Kevin Nash because everybody was stuck in one of these. Well, I should say four lines because the other line was very long for Mike Tyson as well. So
Yeah,
it kind of worked out, so I'm not going to complain, knock on wood. But the couple of times where I'm like, all right, I'm going to go meet him today, he's just not there. So what are you going to do, right? He's Ric
you
Flair. He does
can't
what he
do.
wants, right? We're also very big Ring of Honor guys. You and I should say. You love early Ring of Honor. I love early Ring of Honor. I genuinely feel like if we didn't have that early Ring of Honor, we would not have NXT right now. We would not have had Black and Gold.
You
And
wouldn't have half the wrestling you have right now if it wasn't for Ring of Honor,
exactly.
in my
And
opinion.
exactly. That's so when
And
I
no
first
offense, like I don't want to say this in like a bad way, but like it's Ring of Honor is not the same now. Like it
no,
is very just watered down by AEW talent. Like it needed to be like Ring of Honor needed to stay its own thing. Like how WWE keeps TNA its own thing. They may like pop in once in a while or have a couple crossovers. Those things make sense and they work, but like TNA is still its own thing. Where ROH, it's just not ROH to me anymore. To me, it's a product of AEW's. It's just whatever talent we can't fit on AEW will go down to ROH until someone gets hurt, washes out, or we don't want to use them anymore. I don't know. I just never will feel like it just won't be the same to me ever.
Right, right. I mean, hopefully someday they'll get that through their thick skull and do better, but I'm not holding my breath, but I couldn't agree with you more. I love going
I don't
back
think
and
they will.
I
I don't
probably not, but
because it
I
was
try
like
to be
it was
hopeful at least.
I feel like it was a buy to keep up with WWE
Right.
because I think they AEW had ROH before WWE made the deal with TNA. So, but
Yes. Hmm.
WWE had NXT that was blowing up, but it was the NXT blow up was like I don't know, it was controlled to a certain point to where they didn't allow it to get so big. But like ROH is it was meant to keep up with everything else WWE was doing, and now it's just watered down. I don't know.
Yeah.
It would just never be the same. It was just a quick purchase. Now that they're just saturating and killing.
Yeah, which is very unfortunate because those, especially early ROH, and even just before it got purchased, it was still doing better stuff. I mean, I went to a show in Lowell. I want to say it was like 2015 or 16, something like that, and it was great to see Jay Lethal. Right,
Yeah.
Jay Lethal is one of my all-time favorite guys. Um, I think he's completely underrated for many reasons. People are like, oh, well, he wasn't at WrestleMania. It's like I don't give a two cares, dude. I do not give two cares. This man, whether it was TNA or the stuff that he did in ROH, I think he's phenomenal. So, but yeah, there's
Super great.
definitely an easy and very obvious statement, and some people may or may not want to make it, but I'm making it today, and I don't care. I don't give a shit. Okay, it's my show. I'll do what I want. All right, this is America. Without Ring of Honor, we would have never had NXT. We would not have. We would not have the Black and Gold. Um, I can definitely say Evolve is also a part of that because Evolve was really big before it got rebranded and bought out and
Yeah.
everything. Evolve was great as well. Evolve. Um, and but I don't know that those young years, the first summer of punk, like you can't go wrong. You just can't go
Oh,
wrong with
never.
Ring of
Summer
Honor.
of Punk was amazing. But I think though the thing that I do like to see is that because there are so many predominant like big companies now, like you have WWE who has partnership with TNA, and then they have NXT, and then below that's Evolve. But now you got AEW and ROH, and like the fact that all these companies are now like they're gonna start basically sending them back out to the indies, like
Yeah.
start what's the word I'm looking for? Recruiting from the indies again. And like an example is like, well, look what MJF just did up in Maine with Limitless. Just took Alec Price and what's the other kid's name? Oh my God, why can't I remember his name?
No, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
Yeah, just
they
took them
scooped
and
him up.
signed them to AEW. But they
Right.
were working for ROH for a little while. But that's the stuff that I like to see more now, and it's definitely it's working with the WWE ID is that they're not just like, all right, we have to go just grab these college athletes because they're more moldable and all that. Nah, they're coming back to the indies because they know, like, because of places like ROH, without the indies, you don't have wrestling. Without ROH, you don't have what wrestling is today. Like,
Exactly. I agree with you completely. And for anybody who wants to pop back on the channel, I actually did a full video about the entire farming system with WWE, comparing it to how the Boston Red Sox organization works. Putting the WWE at the top with SmackDown and Raw, they're the Red Sox. NXT is your Worcester Red Sox, AAA baseball. Portland Sea Dogs would be the Evolve right now, and
Yep.
then there's the single A, which would be the WWE ID, and the NIL, the ones where they go and they start trying to grab all the collegiate athletes and those type of folks, the Olympic athletes. So I did a kind of comprehensive thing. Shout out to the Portland Sea Dogs and to the Worcester Red Sox for resharing it on various social media platforms. But I couldn't agree with you more. The fact that the WWE has finally kind of opened up and been stop pretending like they're not going to do that, and they're just like, hey, let's work harder with them.
Well,
Shout out to those folks.
in my opinion, I think the thing was they wanted to do the collegiate athletes more because they came with like less bad habits.
Yeah,
They were more coachable, is the word I would use. And it was an opportunity to make money, so these kids were willing to listen. Where like independent wrestlers, like we we may like have some flaws, or a lot of us carry bad habits, but the difference is we know how to. They only know how to wrestle. We know how to like captivate the audience. Like that's what we're learning on the indies. They were finding out that, I feel like, in my opinion, they were finding out trying to take these collegiate wrestlers, throwing them right into NXT. They don't know how to work the audience, so they're not going to last long if you can't get the audience. That's the one thing that, no matter what flaws you come out of the independent scene with, or whatever attitude, you will learn how to work a crowd no matter what. Collegiate athletes don't have to worry about working a crowd. They're playing a fucking sport. Excuse my language. I'm
exactly.
sorry. Um, but that's where I think WWE was like, damn, like these dudes are good and they're coachable, but like they don't have a character. They don't know how to work a crowd, or they're camera shy. And it's just like, all right, but there's been dudes who's 17 working on independent scenes that do all of that, but the WWE didn't want to touch them. But now I think that they realize that we're more important than they wanted to give us credit for. Now they're gonna start dipping their toes back into the independent scene. I think it all started with the WWE ID thing. Like, congratulations to, Jackson Drake, um, Swipe Right with Ricky Smokes and Brad Baylor. They all got signed, but they were from the independents. I know Brad Baylor was a collegiate athlete. He played lacrosse. I know he's a lacrosse coach, but like he didn't get noticed from lacrosse. He got noticed from being a independent wrestler, coming from Paul Roma and being a PAPW guy, and like really having the look. And he's he looks like a young Randy Orton. But needless to say, like I think that now all the main top promotions are gonna start, going through the indies again, which gives people like me more hope, because I'm 34 years old, so I'm trying
Right.
to get to that scene, and I have less of a chance than the 18-year-old does. So
No, I mean, I completely understand. I'm 40, right? Just turned 40. I am actually going to be going to sign up in about a month when I am in better physical shape because I don't necessarily want to be a professional wrestler, but I want to be in the wrestling profession. So I've already had my conversations with Nepwa. So Chase Del Monte and Scott, I'm going to be signing up for Nepwa, and they've said, "Hey, man, we understand you're an old man, so you don't necessarily have to do all the things the 18-year-olds are going to do." Because they got some very young, talented people in there, and I'm like, listen, maybe 22 years ago I would have been able to do some of this stuff, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep up with these kids, right? But I'm going to give it my best shots.
I'll
But
give
and
you,
also,
uh,
right,
I'll give you
right,
a trick, because you may be a little older than me. I've been in like the wrestling world my whole life. At 34, I know like I'm very athletic and I can do all the cool shit, but I'm 34. I'm more prone to getting injured if I try doing the cool shit.
exactly,
I try to become more of a storyteller. Like when you get into this business, there's the storytellers, there's the wrestlers, and then there's the both. I try to be both, more storyteller. I can do all the cool shit, but the chances of you seeing me do cool shit is not gonna happen.
right. Then your career will be over by 40. You don't want that, man.
Yeah, I don't want that.
No, I appreciate that for sure. I definitely I'd love to just be the hype man, just going out there between crowds, getting people all hyped up. I know the well, like let's say TNA, right? So I went to the most recent TNA taping down in Rhode Island, and they have a guy in between the ring announcer and everybody else who sits there and just gets the crowd back up ready to go all the time. And then he passes it over to the and I just forgot his name, so forgive me. Super cool guy though. I actually got to talk to him a little bit on Instagram because they had a contest. They were like, "Hey, whoever could be the loudest, most obnoxious fan is going to walk out of here with a free hat." So they asked a guy from Lowell, Massachusetts to be loud. Who do you think walked out with the free hat, my friends? It was me. It was pretty easy for me, right? So I'm like, oh, I can be unfiltered in myself and I can win. I put that hat on with pride, my friend. I was like, haha, I win. So I ended up finding him on Instagram later on. He's like, you earned that hat, bro. You rock that stuff. And I was like, that's what I'm talking about. I've done a couple of the guest spots, the guest announcing at the Wrestling Open, and that was electrifying. I think it'd be a lot of fun, to be honest with you. And shout out to Rich Palladino. I think he's the GOAT. I know he tells me to stop saying that, but I still love you, Rich. Um, you know, he's been super nice and kind with his time, and I think it'd be good. Like I think there could be, and even if I'm just I went to the Art Institute of Phoenix to get a bachelor's degree in digital filmmaking and video production. I'm also a big movie nerd. The writing is in the blood, so if they're like, we need some vignette ideas, record them all day. I mean, I record a bunch of stuff. Actually, today is January 18th. It's a Sunday. Right now, it's almost 1 o'clock. Tonight at 8 o'clock is going to be the Chef versus Algo Nelly dropping on the channel. So I was
That
there for
is
that
tonight.
life.
That is tonight.
Um, right. I didn't want to drop anything until Fight Life dropped the videos, their stuff. I didn't want to. I didn't know if that would cause any friction,
That
but
did they drop their stuff already? That was last night,
the
right?
well, the show is coming out today on Triller TV, I think it is.
Yeah.
So now that it's going to be readily available to the general public and not just the people who were live there last weekend, I'm like, okay, I can start dropping matches, is what I'm saying. So first,
I haven't seen that match yet.
so there, yeah, 7 o'clock. I can send you the whole thing. It's on my phone right now. Send you the
Nah,
whole- which Algo Nelly was on the channel. Super nice guy too. But yeah,
dude.
we you know that was actually our first Fight Life Pro show. We had a lot of fun.
That
We've
was
been
my
right
first Fight Life show.
there. You go. Right. We've been trying to branch out a little more. There's so much. You guys have so much down in Connecticut, but with days like this where it won't stop snowing, we just don't make it down there. And
I don't think I think a lot of things probably got canceled, to be honest with you.
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. We have already, the both of us, JJ and I have already said when it comes to better weather days, whether that's spring, I don't want to hold my breath. I don't want to hold my breath because New England does whatever she wants. But at the very
Because
least, summertime, we definitely want to spend some good time, quality time in Connecticut, going to, because we love guys like Patrick Saint. You know what I
of
mean?
that guy.
I love Patrick Saint.
That's such a cool dude, man.
He's such a cool dude. He talks to me all the time on Instagram. When he gets a free minute, he's going to be on the podcast. He's coming up next Saturday for the RWA title. I 100% want and expect him to take that title. I 100% can't wait to see that gold around his belt, like that, just on his waist.
Please.
I told him this
Please.
on Instagram myself. I'm like, listen, bro. Um, he's the what he's been doing in RWA and other places, and I told this to my daughter. Reminds me of Hall of Pain Mark Henry because he's just out
Yes.
there.
Killing
He's just
people. He's killing
exactly.
people.
He's just
Killing
out there
people. You
smashing
want to
them.
see a dead body, and he leaves a dead body. Patrick Saint's my boy. I loved his work ever since I met him and trained with him at Test of Strength. Like that's one of my one. He's dope as fuck. The least to say.
Right. No, super awesome guy. He's been very supportive of the channel. Whether it's the trenches, we've seen the trenches at Focus Pro. They had a tag match.
That was
Um,
scam
exact.
likely down in New
Yeah.
York.
Yep.
Another one of my
Exactly.
boys, Jay Champagne, and why can't I remember the other kid's name? Um, the
Which.
third guy in there. Yeah, I'm bad.
Right.
I'm so bad with names, but all three of them, I love all three of those dudes.
Right. So we're gonna have the Don Dada, the top shot caller in this place one of these days when
Himbo
we get.
Slice.
Yeah, there you go. When he gets the time. Because once again, I'm always genuine appreciative when people want to come on the podcast. I know you guys are busy, you have lives. So if he's like, it might be a little bit, or like we had a whole list of people. I literally have it right here. I don't want I'll have a whole list of people who I reached out to in December and they're like, hey, wait till after the New Year's and then hit me up. And I'm like, respect,
Yeah.
respect. So, Corey Duke, Corey Duke,
Another good dude. Another good guy.
he basically told me that same thing. Like, listen, man, holidays are too much for me. Come back to me. So, I'm gonna be hitting him up probably in a week or so and be like, hey, man, is a better time? If not, c'est la vie. When the time works for you, the time works for me. I'm not in any rush or whatever. So, but yeah, we're both big Shawn Michaels guys. I love Chris Jericho. You know,
Yes.
the fact that he just keeps reinventing himself and reinventing himself and reinventing himself and there's just something to say about that. That he's always going to that next step. I've been kind of low key dying to go on one of his cruises, uh, just because there's so many people who go on the cruise. There's so much wrestling, so much rock and roll, so much fun. At least it looks like a lot of fun. So um, he's also a DDP yoga guy. So love you, Dallas. Um, um, so, and I mean, you want to talk about a 40-year-old who stepped into the ring and did it wisely? Diamond Dallas Page.
Exactly.
He's in his 70s. He's still cooking.
Jesus. He
He's
doesn't
still
look
cooking.
70, man.
He could put his leg above his head. Like
That's crazy.
he's
Oh,
to be the man, right? Oh my God.
yes.
Um, and we both love Ric Flair. It's and so many people will be like, "Oh, well, what he did outside the ring." I get it. I get it. I've heard so many
Um,
stories. I've heard so
Whatever,
many
dude.
stories. I get
You
it.
tell me a guy who survives a plane crash, breaks his back, and comes back to wrestle for 40 more years, bro.
Exactly. Thank you. Because I just good luck. Good luck finding somebody as perseverance as Ric Flair has been through so many times. How many things this man's gone through. And listen, as a parent, to know that he lost a child
Yeah.
and
It's sad.
that is, my heart breaks for that family, man. Like, I could not even imagine what it was like, right? I know that Ashley, Charlotte, and my daughter absolutely love Charlotte Flair. Um, took that as her own genesis to become the 14-time women's champion that she is. So something at least came out of the tragedy. But as a father, as a parent, man,
Heartbreaking.
heartbreaking. No, boof, my God. So, um, and then we talked about Ring of Honor. You got guys like Samoa Joe, who's been doing it at such a level for such a long time. I don't know how much I don't know how much gas he's got left in the tank since all of that people from that generation seem to be retiring soon. I
I
say.
also I also think that once you start to see wrestlers tap into the movie industry
Yeah,
and stay, like, when you go to the movie industry but do a movie and come back to wrestling, that's how you know you're going to be back and forth. But a lot of wrestlers who stay in the movie industry, like, they're pretty much done with wrestling. And I think that's going to be Samoa Joe soon because
I think
he's
so.
with Twisted Metal. I think he's probably going to get casted for other things.
Yeah. Roddy Piper said it best. He was talking. He put advice out there, and they said to be 1993 or something. And someone can be like, "Oh, it was 94. You're wrong. I don't care." He was talking about his time when he was in the movie industry, and it was the best thing for him because it was the first time he was able to get actual health insurance. Being part of, you know, being part of all of that, it actually finally made him eligible for health insurance. So he was like, "Hey guys, at least do one thing so you can be part of the Actors Guild and get health insurance and other luxuries that we wouldn't get as professional wrestlers." And you know, I get it too, right? Especially you get a little older, you gotta start paying attention to things a little differently. AJ Styles has been talking about it. Looks like maybe Gunther's retiring him maybe soon, and
I highly doubt that.
it's gonna.
That'd be disrespectful.
Yeah, you think so?
Odd, like the John Cena thing, and who was the guy before him?
So Goldberg.
Goldberg. Those are different because those are wrestlers, those are entertainers that Gunther retired. AJ Styles is a wrestler. Like, I don't
Yeah.
think you're just gonna retire AJ Styles like that. I don't know. And I think with it being said, I think they're gonna leave how AJ Styles wants to go out up to AJ Styles because
Oh,
he's earned that right.
of
He's
course.
he was the only man to sit down and win every major world championship all over the world before he signed that contract at WWE. Like
Right.
he did it right. I mean, I don't see him going out to Gunther. I'm sorry. I'm seeing him maybe doing this TNA run and then picking his last opponent. And we all know how the last opponent goes. You lose that match regardless.
Right. Yeah, and that was one thing that I would say I wouldn't say pissed me off, but when John Cena tapped out, there's people saying, "Oh, he wasn't supposed to lose his last match." Bro, is this your first day watching wrestling? Like,
Everybody loses their last match.
it's
It's
that's
the
how it
extra
goes.
drama, bro.
You
Oh,
gotta
he goes out with a loss. I mean, look, Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair. There you go. Ric Flair
right,
lost that, and that was his last match, quote unquote.
right,
Um, but you all remember the super kick pin and the tears. Would you have remembered it if Ric Flair put Shawn Michaels in the figure four and made him tap? Went out? No, you wouldn't have remembered that. You remember the loss and how
right.
much he did for the business and the loss of him in general. That's
Yeah,
what you remember. That's why
Shawn
you lose
Michaels,
your last match.
Shawn Michaels saying the words clearly on his face, "I love you, I'm sorry." He tunes up the band, he finishes it, and
Mm.
Flair's
Takes his
doing
head
his like,
off.
just do it already. You know what I mean? Just finish it. Let's get it over with, right? Just if you're gonna kick me, and then that's you remember that more than anything else. You're correct. If you would
Exactly.
if
But that's
people
why That's why Taker had such a rocky ending to his career because the end of Taker's career should have been someone breaking the record. Like, and it should have, no offense, it should have never been Brock Lesnar that time. I'm gonna be honest with you. If anybody was breaking that record, to be 100% honest, I think it should have been Shawn Michaels back in the day, if it was gonna happen, or when Roman Reigns was on top because Roman Reigns on top as the champion, he had the this is my yard now type of mentality. And the perfect person to come in and try to take that away from him on WrestleMania would have been Taker. And it could have been belt versus career. And then you would really never know what would happen. Would Taker have beaten Roman Reigns or would Reigns end Taker's career? And that would have been a perfect way for Taker to go out. I just felt like his road to his end was so rocky because he lost the record and then he kept going after that. I
yeah,
didn't like it. Didn't like it.
no, no, it's and it's wild now seeing him having a podcast and him just kind of like because he was so tight-lipped for so long. So now when you turn it on, I mean, no disrespect to the man, I love him, but it's just like my mind sometimes just like,
Yeah, but y'all, everybody got to remember he was a really good promo guy
yeah,
as American Badass. Like he was good on the mic back then, and Like that's why like him having a podcast doesn't bother me that much because I remember those days. I remember where he wasn't quiet and it was him and the Brothers of Destruction with Kane, and he was the mouthpiece, and he had to do the extra work as the mouthpiece because Kane couldn't talk.
Right.
But yeah, I love Take. That was my favorite version of Taker. That and Black and Purple.
Yeah. No, the American Badass that was the first time in a long time that I had to save up my money to buy something because I actually bought the gloves, the American Badass gloves. And I think this was back in the day where WWE wasn't a website, it was a catalog.
Hmm.
So you had to get the catalog, and then you had to a lot of the stuff came with either like WWE Raw or SmackDown magazine. So you'd see that they give you the little uh, uh, you know purchase card. Basically, you got to put your name and all your address, the item description, like what you wanted to buy. You put a check or your money or whatever the hell inside the thing, and you sent it off.
Yeah,
You
that's
got
so old school, bro.
It is. It is.
That's like Avon back in the day.
Yeah. Like I literally had to like save up my money for ever and then get a check from my mom and fill out a whole card, mail it to WWF headquarters, and then 6 months later I got these gloves in the mail. Now I can literally pull up my phone and like I have one of those
Amazon.
robots. I have a robot. I can't say the name of it. It's a bliss bot. I wouldn't say the bliss bot. If I say to the bot that's over my shoulder right now, I say its name, I can just say order some crap and it will be done in 30 seconds. So it's not a different.
Crazy.
We're in a totally different playing field 26 years later for sure. So
Yes, sir.
let me ask you this question. What inspired you to first step into the ring and how did that decision change your life? Because I know you talked about previously, you know, you were you got into the military because you wanted to get in shape, and then you got out of the military and then you got back into the wrestling thing. And I heard you talk about like how when you were a kid there you got involved in wrestling because one of the like promoters also ran like it's like a boys and girls club or something. What was that?
Uh, so when I moved to West Haven, Connecticut, this was like 2000, I met a whole bunch of people that had the same general love for wrestling that I did. Um, Obviously, we fucked around in the backyard and excuse my language. We did what kids would do.
Mm.
Um, but then we met a guy named Joe Chance through people. And at the time, this is like 2005, 2006. Um, Joe Chance had a teen center in my town that we would all go hang out at, but he also ran Connecticut Championship Wrestling at the time. And he knew that a bunch of us liked wrestling. So he offered up like ring crew, security, do concessions for him, like whatever the company needed, like he allowed us to help out, which entitled we got to mess around in the ring. We got to meet other wrestlers. Like this is how I met like Jake the Snake, Jimmy Snuka, Homicide, met Jay Lethal, I met and was introduced to Slick Wagner Brown at this time. Ron Zombie, who else from way back in the day? A lot of people like Matt Stryker. I don't know if
Oh,
remember
yeah,
him.
I know, man. Yeah.
Um, he was a big CCW guy, went to WWE. I met a lot of people through this guy. Um, So being introduced to all that, like I went to college and I just loved wrestling when I went to Rhode Island for college. I got introduced to Showcase Pro Wrestling, ran by Chris Blackheart, who is a Killer Kowalski guy. So I started training there. I did some shows with them. I met T Phoenix, RWA, around this time. Did some things with like one of some of their people. I moved back to Connecticut, went to PWA, was ran by Joseph Von Schmidt at the time. Trained there. I was also with people like Hippie Dicky Moon. This is when he started training. This is like 2013. Um, but I had some things happen in life that I had to take myself out of the wrestling world. I wasn't like mentally there. I couldn't give myself 100% to the wrestling world with everything that was going on around me. So I took some steps away from it, tried to get my life back together, chased a culinary career, got really good with that. But I still had like a hole that I had to fill. And I tried to fill it with semi pro football. I played for 3 years. Tried to fill it by going to the army, but the army was also COVID was taking my job. I wanted to stay in shape, but I wanted something to like fill that hole. So I went to the army to try to do that. But when I was getting out of the army, I needed a game plan. I needed to come home and dive into something, not come home and figure everything out and feel like a couch potato or feel like I'm just wasting time. So while I think I had like 3 months left in the army, I contacted an old friend of mine that I used to work for, had a job lined up. Um, and then I was just trying to figure out a wrestling school to go to. Um, I knew there was Team 3D in Danbury. That was going to be about an hour and some change from where I lived. There was PAPW in East Haven, which was like about 45 minutes from where I live. Then there was Test of Strength in East Hartford. But what really hooked me to go to Test of Strength was also that a good friend of mine, BMT, I've known him since I was 13. He grew up one street over from me. I had messaged him asking him like, "Hey, I'm coming back from the army. Like, is there any good wrestling schools?" He said Test of Strength. Bull Dread. I don't know if you know who Bull Dread is. He's a Connecticut guy. I've known him for a while. He also said Test of Strength. But what really got me was that one of my dad's good friend's son was training at the time, and he asked him where he was training at. He said Test of Strength. I happen to know this kid from coming from to one of my shows about 10 years ago, and he ended up being Young Boy. I don't know if you're familiar with Young Boy.
Mhm.
So he's one of the bigger reasons why I came to test his strength. The familiar, I can't, why can't I say the word? It was just very familiar atmosphere, knowing that first day there, it was BMT, there was Young Boy. Like I just felt comfortable. And it finally was able for me to fill that hole that I've been missing for about like 10 years to come back to wrestling.
And
But
it's no, go ahead.
I've always, I don't know, there was something about, I think it was always because I loved physical sports, but I loved movies. So I wanted something that did both. And sports don't do both movies, and movies aren't real. So I think, especially with the era of wrestling I grew up with, the Attitude Era, the cruiserweight division in WCW, the hardcore intensity in ECW, I knew like wrestling is what I always wanted to do. Plus, it allowed me to be who I wanted to be. I guess you can say an untamed version of myself.
Yeah, and that's great because I've talked about this on the podcast, and who hasn't really talked about it before. To me, the best personas were always the ones that are just you cranked up to 11, right? You as a human being being able to be your most fluent self. And I've always found that to be, you know, and not to say you can't have the opposite as well, because someone like Dustin Rhodes was able to be gold dust and he was highly successful. And not necessarily you would assume that a cowboy from Texas is going to be right around with gold makeup and underwear, right?
Very
So
flamboyant.
very fun. Complete different thing from Dustin Rhodes, and shout out to him because he's completely underrated as well, in my opinion. But um, it also answers the question I was going to ask in the future of how'd you get into the monarchy. I was like, you know what I mean? I was gonna be
uh,
like, how did that work? Like, oh, BMT. We in this family, we love BMT. We go to Chaotic all the time. He's one of those people that we've been dying to meet, but he's never. He never has like he doesn't have like the monarchy doesn't have a table. They don't have merch.
Yes, they do.
They so we've met like Ariel. We gotten pictures of Ariel, but we never met King BMT. We did get some really good pictures. I should say JJ. She's been doing the photography lately. She got some really good pictures of BMT um, at the Fight Life Pro recently. I got the pictures of you guys when you guys were at the RWA when it was the monarchy versus the unit, which I thought those were some fun pictures and a great show in general. But yeah, that definitely answers that question I was going to ask. It's like, how did you get on the monarchy, man?
Yeah, I've
Like, you
known that
lose
man
the
for
show.
he's a very good friend of mine. He's an inspiration. I watched his career even when I wasn't wrestling, and through all his ups and downs, he still goes. He's in my eyes a top talent. But yeah, he's a really good friend. I ask him for advice all the time. Anytime I can, I'll steal his ear or him and Jose Perez. Like I love those guys. Jose Perez was around when I first started wrestling 2011. So like I still like he is another inspiration to me. I'll always ask those guys. They're great people. Great people.
Good.
Despite
Yeah,
how people feel about BMT. Okay.
yeah. Yeah, and it's funny because I feel like especially on the indie scene, I have become a huge proponent of the heels to use the parlance of our times here. I don't know what it is, but heels just resonate with me a lot more, and I have frequently been the only person in the room rooting for someone, and everybody's giving me the death stare. Like, why are you rooting for BMT? And if you go back and you see JJ's pictures or you see some of my pictures, I literally put on there bend the knee. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'm not like, oh, this guy's all blah, blah, blah. I'm like, listen, I've seen this guy wrestle for many a year, and he's extraordinarily talented. His wife is extraordinarily talented. They're
She
bringing
is
the kids.
phenomenal.
They're bringing the kids in on the gimmick. They had them at Rad Pro Wrestling recently, and all the kids were in the ring doing stuff. Um, we love the Banana Girl, the chaotic Banana Girl. Um, I've been dying to get JJ, because JJ's become the JJ and the Gecko. It's like the thing now, and we go to chaotic and other places, and you're like, oh, it's the kid with the gecko, right? So I've been trying to get a few of the netball folks like Shawn, Vegan, Keegan. I want the Banana Girl and JJ and the Gecko to do the Mega Powers Collide handshake. I think it's going to be
Yeah,
great because
that would be
um,
cool.
so we're big fans of the monarchy in this house for sure. We especially it was great to be there when the queen won her Omni
The
belt
Omni, yeah, that
and
was
she was
phenomenal.
crowned. It was great. We got JJ got one of the first pictures of her with the queen and the belt. One of the first pictures right after she got out of the ring. So we love those guys. So it's great to hear that. And then I feel like this has come up. A couple people have said this before, so I kind of want to bring it up. I also did that kind of stupid you shouldn't do thing as a kid. So like my brothers and I and a couple of friends from the neighborhood did the you probably shouldn't do this at home thing where we were jumping off of things and beating each
Man,
other with
your top stars nowadays did that shit back in the day.
exactly
Like your Seth Rollins, your
right
CM Punks. I mean,
right
maybe not your Roman Reigns, but like your Kevin Owens and your
right.
Sami Zayn's. Like, come on, man.
Exactly. So, and we both love Punk, man. Punk's the reason why I'm sober. Punk's the reason why I don't drink alcohol. Punk's the reason why it was kind of an accumulative effort of different things, meeting and hanging out with, meeting the DDP yoga crew earlier in the timeline of my life, being part of the what was then YRG. It was YRG back then. It wasn't DDP Yoga yet. I still have the YRG videos, the DVD set that I bought in 2011 or whatever it was, right? Being part of that up and coming thing. At that time, I watched It was CM Punk's documentary, The Best in the World, and he was just talking about his life story. And I told myself, I was like, why do I drink alcohol? What is it about that stuff? So now I don't drink alcohol. I haven't drank alcohol in probably 3 years. Um, During COVID, I drank alcohol. I got bored, I guess. I don't know. But recently, I did find, I would say about 3 or 4 years ago, I found kava. So, kava is a natural root from the Pacific Islands that, when brewed appropriately by the right people who know what they're doing, it just calms your mind. So for me, I have that little voice in the back of my head that never shuts up, right?
Hmm.
It turns that guy off. And literally, when we're done with this interview, I'm going to eat lunch and I'm going to go to the bar. I'm going to go to the Rude Awakening Kava Bar. We have one in Nashville, one in Worcester. We do the DDP yoga. It's going to come back hopefully sometime soon. Originally, I wanted to do this podcast live in the Worcester bar. I was talking to, I won't name names, but I was talking to some people about doing a live show every Thursday. And hopefully, when things settle down with that whole stuff in the bar, I can get that back going, because it'd be much cooler to have like a live crowd, live studio audience and all that stuff. So
That'd be awesome.
right, yeah, I think it'd be a lot more fun. I know for a fact that Patrick Saints, he's basically made it. He wants to do the podcast, but he wants to do it in a live. He wants to do it like, he doesn't want to
He
do it like this.
wants the theatrics. That's what
Yeah,
he
exactly.
wants.
So he's waiting for me to have the time to do it in person so we can do it in person.
Smart man,
He's a
smart
smart
man.
man for sure. And we might be doing it down in Sowa. I have a buddy of mine, Scoop. Shout out to Scoop. He's got a store in Sowa, and he's gonna lend us some space this coming summer for some professional wrestlers. Maybe get some of you TOS guys in there. Get a bunch of you guys
Hey
lined
man,
up. It's in the district. Obviously, Sowa's a district. I don't know why I had to say that twice. He gets so much foot traffic from people coming in. You guys could be doing signings and stuff. It'll be great. He's
I'm
down.
always up for it.
Right. So, how has your background as a third generation chef shaped the chef persona in the ring? And what's it like bringing your real life precision and passion to the ring?
So this was like it was I wouldn't say like a hard fought battle, but it was very like I overthought it too much. So when I was training at Test Strength, Wagner Brown would always try to tell me, "Hey, man, I need to figure out like a character, gimmick, and like a name, bring me some ideas." And I couldn't, at that time, I couldn't grasp, like, I was only like on the top layer, basically. Like, I couldn't peel back the onions, the layers of an onion to figure out like how to actually make a character stick out. So, like, I think at the time I was thinking too deep about it when he really meant just give me like a template, something that can make you pop for now, and down the road you can figure out the ins and the outs and the details and all that. The chef gimmick thing came from like what I do outside in the real life. So he basically said, "Why don't you use that because you're doing that every day as it is? Try to figure out a way to manipulate that to professional wrestling." I think the best example he gave me was Raekwon the chef from Wu Tang Clan,
Yeah.
and he was like how he's very precise with his words. He has a very like clean flow, like he's very on point, and that's what he wanted me to try to translate to wrestling. At the time, I'm gonna be 100% honest with you, I didn't get any of it. Like I didn't understand any of it. Like I couldn't put the pieces together in my head. And I think it was because I was trying to force it. I was really trying to like make it work too fast. Like I'm trying to force it together and not letting it just come about, as you can say. And this was like 6 months. after I've taken on the name, the gimmick, and all that, and I'm still trying to figure out who this person was. I wasn't even a cut above the rest yet. Um, think down the road, it kind of just came together. Like I really like it was too easy to really figure out what the character was when I sat back and stopped overthinking it. Like I'm precise in the ring. I don't miss. I'm clean. I'm very fast, swift, and all those things are traits of a chef. And like I didn't think about it like that until a few months ago. Literally a few months ago. And a few months ago, I was just hitting my year mark back in professional wrestling. So like it just took me a while to put it all together. And I think now that I had been figuring it out easier without overthinking it, like it's been coming together more clean and fluently. Like the puzzle pieces have been sticking, if any of that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it makes total sense. I mean, that's another thing we definitely have in common where, you know, I'm not a chef, but I was in the service industry for many years. You know, started at the Texas Roadhouse. I was at the Texas Roadhouse for like 10 years, and then I moved into management for a few other restaurants and stuff like that. So someone who is, and yes, I was a server at the Texas Roadhouse, but like during the slow seasons, you got to do what you got to do to be able to get those hours and get by, right? Most people don't really. It was always kind of maddening for me because, especially like girlfriends and stuff, like, what time you get out of work? I get out of work when they don't need me.
Yeah,
Okay,
pretty much.
that's it. Like they need me to 1 o'clock. I work to 1 o'clock. They need me to 10 o'clock. I get out at 10 o'clock. I get out when they don't need me anymore. And being the kind of person I am, I normally get a job and I try to be Superman. I try to be everything. So do it all. So yes, I was a server, but once I mastered that within a year or whatever it was, I was like a trainer. I was the they called them checkers, somebody who like made sure before somebody left they did all their side work and made sure their tables were clean and all that crap. I became an expo. I became um you know salad prep. We there I put on many hats is what I'm saying. For someone to I feel like I mean, for a while I had a pretty good idea. I won't say it on air because I don't want nobody to steal it, but I'll probably tell you later. I had a pretty good idea for a restaurant, and I thought I had a guy who he was a regular back at the Roadhouse back in the day, and we were talking about slicing it together, and we thought it would be a really good idea for a restaurant concept, and unfortunately, it didn't work out, but c'est la vie, right? But
Yeah.
at least it sounded good at the time. So I feel like we have that in common. So I get the you know, and also it's the Wu Tang Clan. So what's not to love about that? Um,
Wu Tang.
right. So it makes sense, putting those pieces together, and then sometimes it's hard to see the forest through the trees. Sometimes in life
Oh,
it's
yes.
hard to see the picture right in front of you. Back when I worked in retail, we were there at 2 in the morning stocking stuff, and you'd be sitting there going like, "Where's this item? It says it's in this area, but I can't find it." And it could be literally right in front of your face. You just Sometimes it's right in front of your face and you just can't see it. And that's just a
Yeah,
part of life. It's literally just a
it
part of
took me a
life. It's a
while.
part about getting older and getting wiser and being able to sometimes work within yourself to get to that next level, because so many people could, they say that old adage, you can take a horse to water but you can't make it drink, right? So I've done it many times where I've had a mentor or boss, whatever, like, bro, it's not that hard. Like, why are you overthinking this? And
I hear that all the time. Oh my
yeah,
god.
which is which,
It
right?
pisses me off because I feel like I'm more I hear that, it makes me think now, damn, am I really just overthinking everything now? Like,
Exactly.
oh,
Which is when I'm like, I need to relax. I'm gonna drink a kava and turn that extra little voice off and just shut up.
yeah.
Let's relax for a minute. Let's shut up. And then I go, all right. Now I see the vision. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, you've been open about facing grief, your military service, your other challenges. How have those experiences shaped your mental health journey, and what's been the toughest headspace for you to get out of? Is it that whole overthinking? Is there more?
Um, I think everybody's an overthinker at first. It's just getting out of your own way, especially when you can see through the forest. Once you're able to see through the forest, my I think I've always had like my biggest mental blockage has always been I hate to fail, like, and it always pushes me to a limit where like I may need to stop for a minute because I'm pushing myself too far, and I know my limits, but I don't care. But at the same time, it's like I need to fail. I think everybody needs to taste failure because then you know what it tastes like, and you know you don't want to ever taste it again. But my problem is I don't want to fail. I just don't want that. Like, I don't want that feeling. I don't want to be in a situation like that. Don't get me wrong. I've been back for a year and a half and I've failed a few times. And I've fucking kicked the shit out of myself quite a few times. And I've had people come up to me, Wagner Brown, BMT, on multiple occasions, be like, bro, it's okay. It's a bad day at the office. No one's hurt. Everything's good. Like, shit happens. You just got to recover from it. But, like, just like in the moment, like, it sucks and I hate it. But, like, when you think about it down the road, it's like, all right, I'm glad I had that experience. I'm glad I had to go through it because then I know what it feels like. But I don't like failure. Like, it's just one thing that I'm not even sure if it makes sense. It's just like I know I have to go through, but I will prevent everything I can to have to go through it. And I feel like that's just not a good mental thing. But there's like, I don't, I deal with that a lot. It's just my head space. Like I push myself too much.
Right. No, I definitely get that because I'm a perfectionist in nature. I'm an
Yeah.
absolute perfectionist, and I can definitely say, like, let's say in my early 20s, there's a lot of things I just didn't do because I am such a perfectionist that I just would psych myself out from ever doing those things. It took me a while to just be able to get into the headspace of saying, like, I would rather, and this is something I say now as a 40-year-old man that I couldn't have said at 21. I would rather do it now and fail completely at it and give it everything I had than to look back and be like, why didn't I do that? You know? And this is actually something Dijak, Donovan Dijak was on the podcast with us a couple weeks ago, and he was talking about a similar thing about like making sure to put all you're all into it. And it's a thing that I tell my kids because traditionally speaking, I'm also somebody who bites off more than I can chew. And more often than not, it can come back to bite you in the ass. It can come back to choke you really quickly.
Yes.
And, you know, whether it's a small thing or a bigger thing in life, I always tell my kids, like, listen, if you did something wrong or if something happened, you need to live with that. Almost it's nourishing it, right? You need to and
Learn from
let
it.
it you gotta because if a lot of people nowadays they'll run from it, they'll hide from it, they'll medicate away from it, and they will never feel the true feeling of that failure. They won't face their fears.
Yeah.
And I've come to the point in my life now at 40 of almost relishing in the fear, relishing in the failure, and realizing that it's a lesson that I need to learn because more than likely if you're wise and you let yourself feel those natural emotions because they're natural, right? The
Yes.
unfortunate truth is that we demonize a lot of the emotions out there, like, oh, you can't be angry. I'm like, why can't I be angry? It's a normal, it's just the same thing as being happy or sad or whatever. They're not you shouldn't be demonized for having those thoughts, no matter what they are, because they're just normal emotions that everybody has. But I tell my kids, hey, when you get into those low points, and be there, because otherwise you're going to miss the point of it, and then you're going to do it again, and you're going to do it again. and you're going to
Yep.
repeat yourself, and you're going to fail over and over and over again because instead of learning from the failure, you're running from the emotions that are attached to that failure, and it's not good. It's just not good, in my opinion.
Nope,
Right?
not at all. I agree.
Do you have when you're in those dark headspaces, do you have anything that pulls you out of it? Do you have a routine? I know you said you love movies. I mean, I went to film school, so obviously I'm a movie nerd. Do you have something that can, you pop on your favorite movie, you watch it 10 times, you have an album or something that you'll play?
It's weird. A lot of times when I'm in like a weird space and this like seems if you're in my everyday life, like this just seems like a natural like thing for me to do. Like my fiance will even say like I do this a lot when I have free time, but also it like helps me like clear my head up and like really see things. I play a lot of Madden, like NFL Madden on Xbox. And like yeah, it's like a pastime for me. I love Madden, but like sometimes like I do it to like clear my head to like because it's a very strategic game. You can't play that game without a clear head because then you're gonna make a million mistakes. And
Right.
yeah, I mean, I play a lot of Madden, I would say. Um, I don't really have a go-to movie, but I would definitely say Madden
Okay,
is
perfect.
my get away from the world type of scenario.
Which I guess is a shameless plug for the Madden movie that's coming out, or maybe it's a TV show. I'm not sure,
It's a
but
movie
it's a
with
Nick
Nicolas
Cage.
Cage
Yeah,
and Bradley Cooper.
I'm very excited for him. I'm an old school Madden fan myself. I own um, every single Madden that's ever existed on like Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Genesis,
Yeah.
PlayStation, Nintendo 64. They had a Madden 64. So I'm a big. I don't really don't have time for. I have 5 jobs, so I really don't have time for video games anymore. But some of my in sometimes I like to bring up. I don't know if you ever played it back in the day. It was NCAA football
They
because
brought it back.
yeah.
So
So the NCAA football was always next year's Madden because they would put in features and they would put in different features in NCAA football to see if it worked, and if it worked, it would be in the next year's Madden game. And I like to say this, especially as like I feel like I definitely feel like I could be a pretty good heel manager, but because I relish in this too much. But when I was playing NCAA football in I think it was like 2008 or whatever, I was always the BC Eagles, and they had put in that feature that's now dominant where you can tell the crowd to hush as the quarterback, and you're supposed to do it as let's say Tom Brady in Gillette Stadium telling your home crowd to be quiet because I'm going to play. However, I'm a jerk. All right, I'm a poor like a proud born masshole, right? So I would go to the opposing team's place and tell the crowd to shut up. And at that point, my controller's vibrating like there's no tomorrow. The screen's shaking like this. I'm up there with like 40 seconds. I'm just like, shut up, everybody, shut up. And they're just like, boo, boo, boo. And it was like some of the most fun of my entire
that's hilarious. That
life.
is great. That is great.
So yeah, Madden. And back in the heyday, I actually for a while I used to have three. I had 3 television sets in my living room during football season when I was a big football fan. But one because let's say 2000 from like 2000 to 2015, we didn't have to have an Amazon subscription and
Nope.
whatever else stupid nonsense to watch football. You just put on CBS or Fox or whatever, right?
And there was
So
football.
right. So I would have one screen would have one game, one screen would have it whatever the other game was, big TV, Madden football, and Madden would be muted, but one of
The other games.
the other games would be audio, and I'd have 3 remotes on my lap, and every once in a while I'd hit pause, like, what do you say? Boom. What? All right, they're in the red zone. Hold on. Let's watch this. Hold on, they're in the red zone. Okay. Oh, they're in the red zone. Boom. And my ex-wife used to be like, "This dude's retarded," and I'm like, "Listen, all right, you got me. All right, I love." Yeah, I can't argue from any point. I literally have 3 TVs at this point. I can't argue. So, But yeah, Madden, great game. Love the game. I cannot wait. I thought I definitely miss him. I watched Monday Night Football back in the 90s, and I love the little squiggly lines, and he's going to go over here and go over there, and then a boom.
Miss John Madden so
I miss
much.
John Madden so much. I hated when they took him out of his own game. I
I do
know that's
like
a thing, but
I do
still.
like the players turned announcers now. I like
Yeah.
that a lot better. Like I love Tom Brady and Tony Romo. Like those guys as announcers are great. Like I
Right,
like the
right.
players now, but I will always miss John Madden.
Always, always. I would love if someone paid his family a bunch of money and turned him into an AI robot, and then you get
No, 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 no,
oh,
stop. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Let him go in peace. Don't do that.
You know what I can just do? I can just pop in an old game and hear him go boom.
There you go.
There we go.
Exactly.
So here's one, and once again, I've been a ring announcer twice, so I wanna make sure I point that out in the context because I don't want people thinking I have a chip on my shoulder. It's nothing. What I've done in the wrestling ring is nothing. Okay, literally nothing. So no chip on the shoulder. And people, oh look at this guy, he's got a big head. Not at all. Okay, but being in that ring for the time that I've done it, right? It was the most electrifying. The only other time I've ever felt that way is when I was behind a camera, right? And it is addicting, right? When you get in that ring, that feeling is addicting, right? Is that something you could agree with? You get that feeling?
Yes, it is addicting, but it's even more addicting when you are in control of the crowd. When you have the crowd, that's when it's at the most addicting. Like when I can, there's places I go like RWA. The moment I walk out the curtain, they're booing me, and I got them. That makes it like even more addicting. It's addicting when you walk through and they're like the sport itself is addicting. It's electrifying, but then when you learn how to level up, it gets more and more grabbing, and it just becomes funner and more addicting. I say this all the time. I can never argue with it. Eddie Guerrero was absolutely right. I'm an addict and I'm an addict for this sport. Like it is addicting, 100%. But like I said, the moment you learn how to grab a crowd and now you can direct them and control them in any way you want, that's when it becomes like, yeah, you might need to go to rehab addicting. Like it is great.
Right. So how has that impacted you both positively and negatively, whether it's when you're out there wrestling or just in the regular world?
Sometimes I'm too much of an asshole in the regular world, and I need to leave that for wrestling. Um, I don't draw that. It literally works that way. It's I bring my wrestling character out to the regular world sometimes too much. Um, I think when I was finding traction as a heel, maybe I pushed the boundaries too much of what I would say to fans. So I had to like redirect some things. Like, but other than that, I mean, I haven't had really any negative experiences with that. I just been taking everything as a learning experience and seeing what I can do next to keep it going up that much more. But yeah, I mean, I just think that knowing that I can walk out the curtain and that these people just know me, whether they boo or cheer me, they know me, they give me a reaction, is one of the best feelings you'll ever get in the world. Hence to the opposition of walking out and no one gives you anything. Like
Right.
you get nothing. And now it's just like, fuck, I gotta work with this. Like I gotta try to get them now. Where it's like I can walk out and they boo me. Now I don't have to do anything. Like I don't have to do a damn thing. I just be a heel, do some dirty tactics. I already got them. Like it also makes my job easier.
Yeah, no, it makes total sense. I could say that like the first time I went out there and everybody was like, who the hell is this guy? But the second time they were like, looking good, looking good, looking good. And I was like, yeah, all right. This is, you know what I mean? Like it's like, okay, they're paying attention to you now. So
Yes, they are.
I could definitely you know, relate at on my small minuscule scale here as to what you're coming from. That must have been for you, so you were saying you had to redirect. Did you have to get like did you notice it yourself? Did you have like did BMT tell you, "Hey kid, calm down"? Did like how did that work out?
No. So I feel like BMT is gonna be the last person to tell me to calm down. I feel like he's gonna be find a different way to say it, or like I don't know. BMT, he's like the last person because I feel like he has no line that he's not willing to like cross to piss someone off. Um, I it was just I had a fan. I had a 3-dayer weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I had a fan that was at all three shows and was like just talking relentless trash to me and wants to sit in the front row at all these shows. So I had said I had said something, but by the way I said it, it took people a minute to realize like what I had actually said. Like I don't know how to explain. All right, I basically told the fan that she has too much she's retaining too much salt in her diet. And it took people a little while to basically realize, yo, he just called this fan fat.
Right,
Like,
right.
and I was like, I didn't care at the time. And to be honest, like, it is what it is. To this day, I still do it. Like, I tell people, you know, you might break that chair sitting in it. Like, they don't take offense to it. But I don't know, someone wasn't too happy about it. And I realized, all right, you know, maybe I'll twist some things or figure some things out. But even with that being said, like I don't even think I changed anything. Like maybe I just stopped saying certain things to certain fans. Maybe I just realized I gotta leave certain people alone. Like, cause you see regulars in every crowd you go to, but
100%.
some of them are just like want to be there to be there, and they're not like a vocal fan. And so, like, I just gotta. I've learned what people those are and what people those aren't. Trust me, I've had one of the worst scenarios happen to me. I was doing a show for Pure Vanguard in Connecticut, and I attacked Ryan Frost at the end of his match. And I was supposed to take Ryan Frost's kendo stick and hit him with it, but a fan had his kendo stick, and a fan would not give me his kendo stick, and I'm brand new, like out the door of TOS, brand new, like so I didn't know what to do in this moment, and I didn't want to mess anything up for myself, and I'm like a bad guy, so I should have like in retrospect anybody would have just took the kendo stick from the fan
Of
and
course.
talked crap. Me, I didn't do that. I just found another weapon and went back to work and made it work. And even my trainer was like, at the time of where you are at, that was the best decision you could have made because you didn't want to like hurt your name in the process of you just getting out there. But he said, give it a year and a half, 2 years, you grab that kendo stick and you walk away. But you, I mean, there's some wild fans in this business. So you just
Totally.
gotta manage around certain things.
Yeah, and I mean, there are there are definitely fans that we go to like, you know, JJ and I go to like all these different shows and it's the same 6 or 7 people we're sitting outside waiting for the doors to open with. You know,
But
maybe if
see,
the
you got to thank those 6 or 7 people. You got to thank those 6 or 7 people. Because at the time, I didn't really ever think about it like this. But those 6 or 7 people that you see at all of your shows, whether different promotions or the same promotions, are helping you as a worker, entertainer, wrestler, anything. They know, all right, I just saw this dude. I just saw the chef at TOS. He's a heel there. So I know he's going to be a heel here. So when I see him here, I'm just going to boo him. And now that helps direct all the other fans on where they need to be. So, like, that's a cheat code. The fans are a cheat code. I'll tell you that.
yeah, and oh man, I don't know if I should shout out some names, but for anybody who is a person who's been one of those 6 or 7 people sitting with me, I guess next time let me know if you should shout you out. But I'm gonna shout them
I'll
out.
shout them out. I don't care. There's Fogman, there's Don Kincaid, Karen, Josh. There's a whole bunch of people like that sit with them that are at
Right,
like every single show in Connecticut, and those people help people like me in the earliest stages of their career get over the way they need to get over. So I
right.
thank them.
John, I'll throw out John and Cody because I always see them at a bunch of shows, and Jen and her granddaughter Melody, they're at a bunch of shows too. There's a lot of like those people who, they take a selfie with you every single place they see you, and I mean that's free advertising, right? To be fair,
Yes, it
you know what I
is.
mean.
Yes, it is.
I mean, the half of what I do with the videos, most of that was just because I realized a lot of promotions weren't doing it. And I was like, okay, well, if you guys aren't going to put out clips on your stuff on a regular basis, then maybe I should do that. Like,
I mean, that's why I do. If you go look at my YouTube, it is just full of all my matches and clips on clips on clips.
right.
Self promotion, man. You got to get there.
Right. And obviously we're both on the TikTok, so I've definitely seen a bunch of your stuff on there, and vice versa. And it's always good to see people your opponent who's going to be in on the one tonight is Algo Nelly. He's always posting a bunch of his stuff too. So I always say that other wrestlers who aren't doing it should be more like guys like you because it's your future, right?
Yes, it is.
There's a certain level of control you're going to take. Like obviously if you get up to the WWE or one of those companies, they're going to do it for you. They have tens of thousands of people that do it, but until you get there, someone's got to
You're
drive
on
the
your own.
bus. Someone's got to drive the bus, and you could be doing all kinds of stuff. And hey, just for some of your wrestlers out there, you got fans like me who, I don't know, no video production. Maybe if you need someone to direct a thing for you and write some stuff with you, hit me up, bro. You think it's going to be a problem to do a promo or something? Like, at the very least, I know how to hold a camera and edit a video.
There
You
you
know what I'm
go.
saying? You know what I'm
Two
saying? You want
key
to retro
things.
material, that's fine. But I know how to hold a camera and I know how to edit a video, bro. So come on, like, let's go. Let's go. You know what I mean? So we talked about like mental stuff. How about physical, man? Has there ever been? I know because you said the army, you wanted to join the army to get in shape, and between your regular job and wrestling, driving here, there, and anywhere, like, how do you do with that physical toll on a regular basis?
I think my fiance says it best. It's o- it's okay to take a break sometimes. Um, because I literally work a 40-hour a week job, and then I train 2 times a week and have at most 3 shows. And then I try to get to the gym when I can, and even when I'm home, like I'm doing something with video editing, like matches or clips, or I'm taking the my pregnant fiance somewhere so we can get more baby stuff or to feed her and me. It's like I don't know. I've been really taking in the it's okay to rest thing a lot lately because my body has been hurting a lot lately, and I need to, while I can, especially during the slower season, like the December, January season for wrestling, it's a little slow. So like I've been taking my time of just hanging out with her, relaxing, not doing as much physical labor or things because luckily enough my job is not that physically intense. So I kind of got to win there, but just I gotta rest. Everybody has to rest. And the older you get, the more rest you need. But at the same time, the more in shape you need to stay to avoid those little nicks and crannies or like bumps and bruises.
Yeah, of course. Congratulations, you're having
Thank
a
you.
baby. Congratulations.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
As a father who has a son who's 23, going to be 24, um, it's a blessing. Children are a blessing. You know, thank you for my children so much, especially now. I mean, you were just on my daughter's show. How many 13-year-olds are out there trying to ask questions? You know what I mean? Like,
Not a lot.
not a lot.
Not
So
a lot at all.
I find myself to be very fortunate to have. I love all my kids. You know, to have a partner in crime like JJ who wants to be at every single wrestling show. She wants to be involved. She is gonna kill me for saying it, but I wouldn't be surprised if when she hits the age, she's gonna be getting in the ring, honestly, because
Eh,
um, you know what I mean? Like even if she's just doing she does netball with me and is doing behind the scenes merch, whatever it is, like you know, she wants wrestling photography to be her profession, 100%. So the podcast, the wrestling shows, the photography. Um, Once again, I didn't put out too much of the fight life because I wanted to wait for the actual. You know, we put out some, but I didn't want to put out too much fight life stuff until the actual show went live today. So the next couple of days, I'll be putting out more fight life stuff. You know, I find myself to be very blessed to have that, and being someone who's been a father, you know, once again I was 16 when my son was born, so with him being almost 24, I've been a father on this earth longer than I've not been a father, and it's hard to turn that dad switch off. Back in my Babies R Us days when I worked at Babies R Us, I helped a lot of like first-time parents, and I'll give you the advice I always gave them when they were out shopping. When you go to look at stuff, do not look at it from the perspective that you have right now because your advantage point is higher. Think about, do I need this at 3 a.m. when I haven't slept in 6 months? Right? Because you might think, who needs this, whatever, diaper genie today? I got a garbage can. I'll just go outside. But maybe it's been 6 months and you haven't slept very well and it's 3 a.m. and it's snowing and you don't want to go outside. So that diaper genie keeping that thing from smelling up your house, not a bad plan. So
That's smart. That is smart. Thank you for that.
right? So I definitely try to give people that advice. Oh man, it's kids are such a blessing. You know, once again, congratulations to you and your
Thank
family
you.
for that. That's wonderful to hear. You know, and I always tell people, you know, especially, is this your first child?
Yes.
Okay. So I didn't want to be too presumptuous here, but I always tell people, especially when it comes to their first child, is that the life you know is over, and that's great because the life you're going to have is 10 times better. There's nothing like holding that baby in your hands for the first time. And it's terrifying because you realize this thing lives because of my responsibility, my choices, my actions. But at the same time, you get to be a witness, and God bless that you are there for every single thing. You get to be part of that person and shape who they are and shape who they become. And it's a genuine blessing. And ooh, I'm getting emotional right now, but that's just because I love my children and I want children all over the world, no matter who I don't give a shit about race, religion, color, blah 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 blah, to be happy and healthy and have a wonderful life. You know what I mean? That's a genuine thing in my heart that you know kids have a wonderful life because you only get that one time. I tell this to my daughter all the time. You know, she has that same like apprehension to do things sometimes that everybody else gets. But I'm like, listen, you're a kid. If I ran up to somebody and be like, "Hey man, can you do this thing?" They're gonna be like, "Get out of my face, you weirdo." But if a kid's doing it, it's cute. All right, so enjoy the enjoy the cuteness while it lasts, man. Just enjoy that bubble that you get for as long as you can, because let the kids have their you know time to grow up. That's my opinion. So say la vie, but congratulations again. So
Thank you. Thank you.
um, whew. So So indie wrestling, right? It throws everything at you. You got travel, you got social media, you got a baby on the way, right? What what is it that you're doing to protect yourself and be prepared for all of the ups and downs of this of indie wrestling in the future?
Oh. I think it's when you're young and you get into this business, you don't know what to expect. And you also don't know what to expect at life. You don't really have any life experience. I think this being my second go, and I have some life experience and some knowledge about the business, I think it made it easier for me to be able to say yes or no in this business. Yes, I'll do this. No, I won't do that. Yes, I'll take this booking. No, I won't take this booking. Yes, I'll wrestle this person. No, I won't wrestle this person. I think it became a lot easier to say those things because now I know I have to get home every night. I still have to wake up and go to work every morning. I have a baby on the way with a beautiful fiance that like I said, I have to get home to and take care of. So I think, and I have a body to take care of. I'm not 20 with nothing built for me, nothing ahead of me. So I have all of it to risk to where I have too much to risk and nothing in return. It'd be different if it's like, yo, I'm in the WWE, then I'd be like, fuck it, I got all of it in return. Like I can risk it all, but I don't have that. I have things to come home to, a body to keep up and maintain, and a family to take care of. So with all that being said, it just made it easier to be able to say yes or no. No, I won't do this. Yes, I'll do that. Because when you get into this business at a young age, which most people do, a lot of people don't are it's not that they don't want to, it's that they are afraid to say no because they no, I won't do this. The first thing they think of is, all right, that person's never gonna book me again, or that person's never gonna call me back. They think I'm too good for the booking or whatever. When it's really not like that. It's you feel some type of way and you're just protecting yourself. Or there's another circumstance that just takes you out of it and you don't feel like you should do it. So, I mean, you don't have that mindset when you're younger because you're afraid to say no to where like I will literally tell you no, like flat out no, fuck off. I ain't doing it. It's never gonna happen. Like I have no problem saying that. Like unless you have a $15,000 check in front of me, I I'm not doing it. Most of the crazy stuff that these independent wrestlers do.
Yeah, and it's funny. You actually answered my next question as well, so I love it. But because the whole setup was about non-negotiables for self-care. So I love that you hit the both of them for me. And yeah, I do agree with you. It does come with time, and there is a certain level of fear, and there is a certain level of worry and animosity that may come along with saying no to something. And when you're young and impressionable, someone could easily tell you, "Hey, this is what everybody does." And with you being young and impressionable, who the hell are you to say, "Oh, that's not true," right? Um, it's much more difficult to step back and put yourself in someone else's shoes when you haven't seen anything of the world, right? Um, and I guess that actually I could lead straight into my other question. Like, if you could go back to yourself at like 18 or 20, or and give yourself some kind of um, advice about all this, what would you say to someone, whether it's yourself or a younger person in that position?
Oh my god. It's to myself, stop drinking, get into the gym, and stop doing all the crazy shit. It's a much way easier way about it than to do it the way you're doing it. In all retrospect, I would just literally say, listen to your father. He's been saying this to you for years. Because my dad has. Um, but if it's somebody that's like in my same shoes, like, listen, man, it's okay to make mistakes. It's the only way you're gonna live and you learn. It's okay to set your own footpath in life. But at the same time, you don't always have to free willingly take the hard road in life because it seems funner. You don't have, you could take the easy road in life and it's a calm, cool thing. You don't go through hell just to have all the fun. So just because it's easy and boring doesn't mean it's a bad idea. The fun and difficult shit can be life taking and the worst decision you'll ever gonna make, but easy and boring is not.
Yeah, and it's definitely something that comes with age. I love the fact that you brought up your dad. It's definitely something that, I can throw myself under the bus too. When I was 17, 18, 19, I didn't listen to my mother whatsoever, dude. Ever since then, ever since then, I've had to eat it. I've had to eat every goddamn word. And mom, if you actually watch this, I love you so much. You're my hero. But
I've been eating
I
my dad's words for fucking 2 decades.
that's what I'm
So
saying. That's what I'm saying. So I've had to eat those words so harsh, and that's 100% on me because they told me better. I would say I ate some of my dad's words too, but then once I got to a certain age, I started like asking him stuff, and I actually started taking his advice, and I've tried to tell it to my children, like, listen, this is what I did. My mom told me not to do it. I did it anyways, and now I have to hear it every Thanksgiving. Okay, so good. You can not listen to me, and that's fine because you got to make your own way in this world, and that's fine. That's you got to be your own person. I get it. But just so you know, I'm not going to rub it in his hard. Just when you come back to me and it's I was right about it, but like, hey, you know what, it's all right, I love you, and I understand. And my personal opinion is that everybody has to learn in life the hard way. So they're gonna learn the hard way. They're not always gonna listen to me, and that's fine because they're their own people and they gotta make their own decisions, their own mistakes, their own whatever. But at the same time, I at least they've sometimes I feel like they've learned from my mistakes. So which is great. But yeah, no, it's definitely a good thing for any of those young people who are in this business who may be worried about it to hear, I feel like, that type of stuff from us older guys. Not just, you hear it from your parents or your aunts, your uncle. They're like, oh, they're just ragging on me. And maybe you hear it from somebody else and you're like, oh, okay. It's not just mom being a jerk or dad being whatever. It's a true fact of life. And it is. It really,
yes, it
it
is.
genuinely is. Like, it's just, there's no other way of putting it out around there. I do have this one question I like to ask sometimes. Have you ever used wrestling, whether it's storytelling or building a character or the match itself, to process real life emotions or struggles?
I think I just use wrestling itself for that. Like, there's not one match, one instance, or like, I'm gonna go release all my anger in this match or use this match as a coping mechanism. I think it's just wrestling in general. That's my coping mechanism with like all of my real life problems. Um, and it's also my escape from reality to kind of get away from it all. It's not, I don't just use like one match or anything. It's like the whole thing. Like, wrestling is where I get to go out and just get away from the real life and enjoy, like, I hate to say it, but like this fantasy bubble that I'm building.
Yeah, no, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, I know, like, back when I was in college and making commercials and stuff, you didn't I when I'm behind the camera, I don't have to worry about bills and kids and wife and all that stuff because I'm doing this job, I'm in this moment, and these people are looking up to me saying, all right, where are we going to shoot next, right? Or um, even just stuff for this podcast or whatever else. I get to just pretend like the whole rest of the world doesn't exist for these 3 hours I talk to you, and then after that I got to get back to work editing photographs. So I totally get where you're coming from, and I've got to be able to do. I feel like a part of myself. Um, we're actually going to be having some merchandise made. Um, and on the shirts is going to be T-shirts that say "Wrestling saved my life." I think that is a valid thing that not only professional wrestlers or people in the wrestling profession have said, but wrestling fans have said time and time again that they get to use wrestling as an escapism, right? We're living in this harsh reality right now where everything is so political. Like it's wild to me that like literally just buying a can of dog food can somehow become political and like, oh, well, you pick this dog food and it's owned by this guy and this guy believes this stuff. And it's like, bro, I didn't really research that. I just wanted to feed my dog. You know what I mean? Like, there's it's crazy. It never in the history of the world. I don't want to get political here, but I really don't because it's obnoxious and it's wild. But it's just like I feel like even more now than ever, you need that escapism. You need that. You need something. You need um, healthy alternatives to kind of process and de-stress. You know, I when I go to the movie theaters, it's like going to church for me. Maybe some people might take that as sacrilege, and I mean no disrespect by it here, but I just sit down and to engulf myself in a movie for an hour or two, whatever it is, and dissect it because I am a lunatic critic. All right, that's what you know. You go to school for something. Like same thing with you, right? You're a chef, so if you go out to eat you're going to look at the world differently because you went through you know all right well just by looking at the plate you know how the person sliced and diced and cooked the food right you are that you get that technical prowess and that know-how. There's no difference with me in the movies. I go to the movies and I see all right what how did they I almost want to just watch the behind the scenes stuff to see how they filmed it half the time, but you know we as human beings have to have that stuff, right? And I just you know we we have to be able to unplug for a minute. Otherwise, how are you ever going to be able to live? Honestly, I don't. Maybe someone's a better man than I can figure that one out, but I just feel like it's a great thing to be able to do all that. So, um, if and maybe coming at this from one more standpoint when it comes to being in ring. Have you ever had like a rough match where there was physically, mentally, injure wise, whatever, pop in that bubble for you where you've had to kind of like rebound? And how did you deal with it?
Um, yeah, I have. Can you just give me 1 second though?
Yeah,
Just give
100%.
me 1 second. Sorry about that. Had to check on the pregnant fiance.
No worries, man. Totally get it.
Um, I actually recently just had a rough match. I'm not gonna say where it was or who it was with because it was like, yeah, I had it was a physically a rough, enduring match, and it's like the first time that I actually ever like got mad in a match and like still had to maintain professionalism. I honestly just don't think my opponent like had any self-awareness or like self-control over like what he was doing at the time. But I did get mad, but I instantly like recentered myself, got focused and got through the match. Obviously I said something to my opponent about the things that occurred during the match and like why I was frustrated. But I mean, there are just sometimes things the worst thing to do in this whole business is to be unprofessional. So when you come across like a speed bump in the ring or like dealing with someone who is unprofessional, just let them be that person. Don't eat the bait. Don't fall into the trap. So like yeah, it was rough for me during this match like to maintain me not like freaking out, but I kind of like resituated it told them to like relax, got back to it, got through the match. We discussed what happened in the back, and that was it. But it's just no matter what it is or how bad it gets, like you have to compose your professionalism if your goal is to get to the top. Because the moment, especially on the indies, the moment there's like a check mark next to your name or like something happened and your name is connected to it, like it's bad. It's bad. Like you will not get booked at these places that you want to get booked at, that everybody else is going to, because your name is just attached with drama. So you got to maintain professionalism in the ring, outside the ring, on social media, in person, face to face. Professionalism is key in this business.
See, and I gotta, as a from man to man, I gotta commend you for that. Okay, the ability to see the situation for what it was in the moment and be able to overcome it, right? Be a professional. I gotta commend you for that because probably comes with the fact that we're not young spring chickens anymore. You know,
No.
we've been around the block, we've seen a few things, but some of those times those things can actually overwhelm maybe someone's younger, less experienced. So I always got to give credit where credit's due, man. The fact that you were able to see the situation for what it was and have such a positive outcome for yourself and handle it with resilience. Um, as always, I like to say with these kind of stories, I'm not one of those gotcha people. I'm not trying to get names for anything. It's good that you were able to have that conversation with whoever it was and just be able to, make it a learning situation for everyone involved. So I
And with
gotta
this being said, with that situation happening, if anybody is a wrestler, these are the situations why you always still train. Just always stay in training. Don't ever stop training, but still take shows. Always train. That's just the one key I got out of that whole situation.
right. And I want to say it was one of my last episodes with some Gia Savitz. I want to say he was the one who said that you never graduate. You can train and they can say, "Oh, you're ready for actual bookings." But it doesn't mean you've graduated and you're all done. There's always more learning that could be done. You can
Yes,
always
there
be
is.
so. And I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't want to. But I get how some people might think, "Oh, well, it's been 2 years. I'm good." And it's like,
No, no, you're not. No,
no,
you're
you're
not.
not.
No,
No,
you're
you're
not.
not.
Them
So
WWE dudes, you're world champions in WWE, bro. They're still out training. They're still out going to the gym. They're at
yep,
the place 6 hours before their show, going over their match. Man,
right,
if they're still doing it, you should be too. That's all I'm gonna say, bro. If you want to be WWE champion and that dude is still training at that level and still going down to the performance center and training with the new cast, there's no reason why you shouldn't either. Like
right,
it make no
100%.
sense.
And part of that training, this is always a question I love to ask, is part of that training is tape. Do you
Yeah.
watch
Yes. Yes.
like you got to be so with it being said we've talked about how much we both love Ring of Honor, of course, but is there anything outside of that that you've been watching to put yourself out there?
Okay, so this is gonna sound crazy and very counterproductive. At this moment, I don't do much tape study, and I'll tell you why. Um, so when I go to training now, I'm not too much worried about the basics. I'm more worrying about priming the little things. Like I don't know how to. Everybody can do tape study and then go back and be like, I want to do this cool move or I want to do this cool ass scenario. And it's like, all right, that's cool. You can have that all in your bag. And like, but I want to fix the little nooks and crannies that no one worries about. Like, I want to do the things that make sense. Or like, I don't know, just an example. You see a lot of people doing an up and over, right? but the guy that's going under the guy going over has no action. Like he's just running at it and going under. If you see a very seasoned person, like they're running at it trying to hit the guy, and then when the guy goes up, they go under. They're showing it. Same thing with like a shoulder tackle in an international. You see the guy like pushing him out of the headlock, but you don't ever see the guy who is taking the shoulder tackle, like throwing action, like he's going to punch him or something. It's just like there's so many little details in professional wrestling that if you prime and make so much better, it will help storytelling. It will help you get farther. It would help you get more noticeable. Like you can be out there and doing like this cool ass move, but then there's going to be a promoter and be like, you know, it really stuck out to me. The fact that this guy did this one little thing in his match that made it this much more important instead of this dude's like 630 backflip. I don't know. I do. All right. Don't take me wrong. I do tape study. Like I do watch tape study, but I try not to like watch it for the moves or like
Right.
I try to watch it for like the little things that no one else watches it for. The just I don't know the little nicks and the what can make me different, like what can make me stick out. And I always try to prime the details, work on the things that people skip over, I guess you can say.
Yeah, no, I mean it to me, and you could say me if tell me if I'm wrong here. It sounds more like when you're doing tape study, you're looking more at the fundamentals and you're looking more at the the things that maybe people had done in the past that were considered fundamentals that people don't do anymore because we have all these spot fests. Like
Yeah, exactly.
that's how I
That
took what you said, right? I took it
I
as like, yeah, so it is cool when someone does 42 flips or whatever, but like if he can't do a wrist lock, what's the point? Like,
yeah.
what's the
And
point?
that's why a lot of the times I think another like missed over my phone's gonna die. Fuck. I think a lot big missed over thing is that a lot of these kids don't gotta call matches on the fly. Like
Right,
they don't have a locker room how it was in the 80s where good guys over there, bad guys over there, and the ref will just go between locker rooms and tell you the finish. So you don't
right,
got to work on the fly. That's why like I worked, I think the last couple of times I went to training at Test of Strength, I asked Wagner Brown, like, hey, like we know the basic build of a match. Like we know, and we know scenarios we can call on the fly. Can we call our match on the fly besides the end? Obviously, you can't call an end
yeah,
on. I mean, you
sure.
could, but it'd be a little janky, and that's the most important part of the match is the end, the finish. So, like, I like to learn how to call things on the fly, and I just like the old school mentality of it. I like the little things that people skip over a lot. Like especially like I've now work on this more than ever, how to utilize a ring in a tag team match, how to split it in half, how to know what ropes not to use and what ropes to use. Like I don't know if any of that makes sense or
No, it
anything, but
makes
like
sense. It makes
there's
so sense.
I'm a big psychology kind of guy. Like even when I was in school for Johnson and Wales, I minored in psychology and sociology. So like I like to make the little things important again, I guess you can say. Where
Yeah,
like
no,
this generation skips all that shit.
they do. They skip the fundamentals. It's like basketball. They don't know how to dribble, but they try to do 65 really cool dunks. And it's
Yeah,
like, bro,
wild. Makes no
what
sense.
makes no sense to me. So it's refreshing to hear that you are passionate about the fundamentals because I mean, once again, I've been watching wrestling pretty much my whole life. So I remember when it was pretty much just fundamentals before we got cruiserweights and all the other stuff. And once again, no shame to any of those people. No shame to the Young Bucks for doing their 46
Oh,
flipping
not at all.
in
Not at
there.
all.
But it is better to hear when people are like, I'm gonna like make sure I'm tight before I try any of that other stuff because it's almost embarrassing. And I've said this to my daughter on a couple occasions. It's embarrassing. It's always like those matches where there's like 10 people just standing around for 5 minutes waiting for somebody to jump on them. And it's like that's when a non-wrestling fan walks in and like, well, why are those guys standing there for 5 minutes? And you're like, I have no excuse as to why grown men are going to be waiting for that next spot. You know what I mean? So it's like, worst. I did hear you, but I got two more for you anyways.
Now you're good. Take your time.
So, since coming back from the military, you've been working promotions all across the Northeast, doing ring crew, tags, all that stuff. What's the biggest victory for you in this new chapter? You know, in the last couple of years, like what's the biggest part?
Um, to me, right now, the biggest victory is just knowing people know my name. Like that is, I am a predominant heel in this business, but like even the one place I go and do face work, like they know my name and I come out the curtain and it's crazy. Like and everywhere I just that is the rush. Like just to know people like know my name and then more people are getting to know my name. Like in the audience is like growing for me is like the biggest rush that I feel like I can get. That and then when I hear everybody just booing me or the chairs once in a while. But just to know that like I'm just starting out. I've been back for a year and a half, and this is like I said, it's horrible to come out that curtain with no reaction. That's the worst thing you can get. But to come out the curtain in a year, year and a half, and like they all know who you are and they're booing you, like that, that is, it's amazing. Like it's a rush that you can't get. Like,
Right? I mean, that's what part of what it's all about. If
yes.
getting yourself out there, even if it's for the, you brought up Eddie and guys like Eddie and guys, a lot of guys have said it doesn't matter if it's 6 people or 60 people or 600 people. And Eddie was the one who said if it's 6 people, you got to work 3 times as hard because you need to prove to them why you deserve their $50 or $20 or $5 or whatever it was. So they go back and tell all their friends, hey man, you missed the best show of your goddamn life. You should have been there for that $20 show with me and 5 other people because it was the greatest wrestling I've ever seen in my damn life. So it
Yeah, I mean, I agree because I did a match. I don't know if you know who Dan the Man is. Ever heard of Dan the Man? I did a match with Dan the Man and probably in front of like, I don't know how many, 15 people maybe. And it was my favorite match to date just because they were cheering for Dan and booing for me, which in any real universe, that's not how that goes. But that was my favorite, and it was in front of like 15 people. So like, I mean, you had to work twice as hard, and we had them. So I don't know. There's something about this business that I love.
no, it's oh yeah, no, that's why I love when Eddie Guerrero said that because it's just like he's not wrong.
Not
If
at all.
you really got sometimes you just got to bring it. So looking ahead, 2026, as we talked about, you got a kid, you got a child coming into this world. Um, what legacy are you going to want to leave for your child through all this?
I mean, I'm actually very happy you asked that question because I don't get asked that question often, and that's like the main thing I'm trying to do for my child is leave a legacy that my child can pick up and run with. No matter what I do in life, I just want to leave something for my child. And if I can have it my way, it would be leaving a professional wrestling legacy for him that if he ever wanted to come back and do it and fill in, pick up my boots and take it running, they would know exactly who he is because they remember who I was. So, I mean, that would be an amazing legacy to be able to leave for him.
Right, and that's beautiful, man. That's a beautiful sentiment. I know. I spoke about legacy myself at my grandfather's funeral a few years ago. I wrote a eulogy for him, and I brought up legacy, and that was the first word in the eulogy. I said legacy. What's in a legacy? And my grandfather was, may he rest in peace. He was a hardworking man. He had his flaws, of course, but he did everything he could to put food on the table for his children and his grandchildren. I always knew, no matter what was going on in my life, if I was hungry, thirsty, needed a place to sleep, I could call on that man and he would be the first one to be like, "What are you waiting for? You're hungry. There's food right now. I got a refrigerator. What, you don't think I got a refrigerator, kid? Get over here." You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
like legacy, especially as a father myself, is something that I look forward to and I strive for because I want my I've said it before. Some people may or may not believe me when I say this, but I don't want my children to be anything like me. I want them to be better than me in every measure.
I
Better
agree.
than me. Whatever it is that they want to do, whatever it is that they want to be. JJ right now wants to be a photographer. Hope I want her pictures to be. She's 13, right? She started younger than I did. Well, granted, when I was 13, we had like little snaps. Like that's not the same thing. She's got better technology, but the point is that I want her pictures to be better than pictures that I've ever even thought of taking. I want her to explore. I want my sons to do better. Um, Steve Harvey said it best. Steve Harvey said that there's only one man that loves you and wants you to be better than him,
That's your father.
and that is your father. Exactly. And he said how he didn't realize it until his father was gone that he never once again would have someone tell him that they were proud of him.
Oh, you're gonna make me cry. Please stop.
So in the fields, bro, you know what I mean? So I want to leave that legacy for my children. I feel like we could be bros, dude. We should go get a kava sometime. I owe you a kava, bro.
I
Um,
appreciate that. I'll take you up on that.
but especially if Patrick's gonna be there anyways, might as well just come roll with Patrick, bro.
I'll pop out for that.
Word. So, but it is genuine, it is real. I feel like there are certain people in my life that think, "Oh, you want your kids to be just like you." Like, no, I don't. I want them to be better than me in every measure. I don't want them to have to
I
struggle
agree.
the way I struggled or fight the way I have to fight. I want them to have character, of course. I don't want them to be spoiled brats, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I don't want them to be Kardashians or whatever. But what I'm saying is this, like, I want them to be better than me. I want them to feel whatever the fuck they want it, whatever the fuck they do. You know what I mean? Like, they want to fucking draw pictures or whatever it is that they're going to make them happy. And they feel that they got a measure of success out of it. And they didn't have to be 40 years old working 5 jobs here, there, and everywhere. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's what I want for my kids, and I love that you get to you share that as well. So for 2026, when it comes to professional wrestling, do you have anything on the horizon that you're aiming for? Is there a goal in mind? Is there a seminar you want to get to? Is there a thing you want to do for 2026? What's in store for PG in 2026?
I will be hitting Elite in New Hampshire for their 2-day WWE ID seminar. That is happening. Gaining a little bit of more weight. I'm already up 10 pounds, so I want to get maybe 15 more. See everybody always posting a list of wrestlers that they want to wrestle. I don't want that. I'm not going to post a list. I will wrestle whoever you put in front of me, and I will give you a 5-star meal or match per se. But I just want to keep elevating the game. I want to keep getting better. I want people to keep noticing me. And I'm going to keep putting in the hard work that this business requires for all of that to happen. The goal is always going to be the goal. Keep climbing the ladder until you've reached the top. That is never not the goal. Um, but other than that, yeah, just put on a little bit more weight and keep elevating my game. That's really about it.
Yeah, and I love it, man. And I mean, shout out to TOS, man. I love all the talent coming out of there, but also shout out to Elite. I've been up there. In fact, some of the names that are on this list, How I Met Nelly was at an Elite show. The Duke brothers, Flying Frank Milano, they're all at the Elite Academy doing a show. It was a whole crazy 3 day weekend they did. The first day was a Friday, and it was the WWE ID champion Cappuccino Jones versus the WWE Evolve champion. Um, there was a chaotic show that day, so I didn't go and see it, but we went and saw the Sunday show, which was pure just elite, and we saw like Lex Bowski win a fatal four way. We saw Nelly wrestle. We saw Cappuccino Jones wrestle some. It was a phenomenal match, and JJ got to have a nice little moment with Cappuccino. So shout out to him. Thanks for that one. So Julius Drager, that's where I met. That's where I really got to talk to Drager for the first time. So there's definitely some good guys, and then like Hollow and Reed are the coaches up there. I mean, those guys are really good. They know their shit. Once again, no disrespect to any other. There's so many great wrestling schools in New England in general, but it'd be great to see you up there too, because we're closer to them than anything. To be honest with you, we
I'm
live in New
gonna be
Hampshire, so
the
um,
next time they offer that seminar, I'm going.
that's awesome, man. I've definitely seen a lot of really good talent. Lawrence St. James go through there. There's a lot of really great talent that goes through there. So it'd be cool to be seeing you up there with the little thing, and maybe you get to be on one of the. They just came out with an elite title for those elite shows and everything when they do them. More sparingly than the WFA, but still. Shout out to super fan John Austin. He's going to be, when he gets the right time. Once again, he busy. Once he gets the right time, he's going to be on the show too. So shout out to him. But yeah, those are great goals to have for 2026. Some people always think you need to have like a whole pre-packaged yada yada, but it's like, come on, guys, this
Nah,
isn't
man.
we're not this isn't like eighth grade and we're going into high school anymore. Like sometimes you can just have realistic goals and go crush them. You don't need to have a laundry list of things. It's fine. But yeah, those
The
that's
goal always stays the same, but how you get there is what changes.
right. Life is a journey, not a destination, my friends.
Yes, it is.
And once you hit that, you got to go to the next part of the ladder. Got to go to the next part of the ladder. All right. So if you could cook up, boom, back to the chef, one message for anyone struggling right now, whether they're in the business, they're not in the business, right? Someone out there, maybe they're just out there, they're grinding, and they're dealing with real life battles. Do you have a message for those folks?
Never give up. Like as corny and generic and John Cena felt, just never quit, never give up, never give in to like the the heartache, the emotions, the back pain. Never quit. Just always keep fighting. The more you fight, the stronger you become. The more, the better life becomes. The stronger and more you're willing to keep going. Because life is not easy. It's not a cakewalk. It's not lemons in the lemonade bullshit you hear all the time. Like, and not everybody's gonna made the same way. Not everybody's gonna have the same life story. Not everybody's gonna have the same path, but everybody's gonna have hard times. No matter the difficulty of hard they have, it's still a hard time. But you gotta persevere through it, keep fighting, keep your head up, never be afraid to ask for help, never be afraid to talk to somebody. And trust me, there is a light at the end of every tunnel.
Beautiful words, man. You know, I think John Cena was a genius for putting that on a T-shirt. By the way, what a brilliant man for putting that on.
Smart man.
Smart man.
Smart man.
You said the other one, good old Dusty Rhodes, hard times, baby, right? And I couldn't agree with you more though. To put the gimmick aside for a second, because we all struggle, we all go through it, and I mean that's why I started the whole nonprofit with to help people with their mental health problems, because some of my favorite people on earth Anthony Bourdain being one of them. Anthony Bourdain was a genuine hero of mine. I was absolutely gutted when I found out that he had passed away. And
Is
may he rest in peace. Chef Tony. Um, he was a genuine Robin Williams. They were heroes of mine, and for them to have taken their own lives, like I looked at somebody as Tony as like having the coolest goddamn job in the world. He was so smart, and um, he had this life, and he was doing all these things, and I don't know, he was just so great. So, and going through my own struggles, going through my family, going through struggles, it was just like, hey man, let's be real. And that's why this podcast that I say is not necessarily wrestling related. It's more, let's have a genuine conversation as well as talking about the thing that we love the most, so that we can show people that we are human, that we have seen some stuff, and that we are just as infallible as anybody else. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, man, thank you so much for coming on the show today. It was a genuine pleasure. We did 2 hours and 30 minutes. I'm sure the both of us are ready, like for food or something.
I gotta use the bathroom.
Right,
No, man, thank you very much for having me. It was a pleasure. Got to talk about a lot of things that we don't get to talk about much on regular typical podcasts. So, man, I
right.
love being on. Thank you for having me.
Right, and I throw no shade at the other guys who like to. I let JJ ask all the fluff questions. You know what I mean? She asked like, "Who's your favorite?"
Yeah.
That's cool. Like she could ask him. That's not. And I have no beef with anybody. Chris Sanders. You're a good dude. I'm not throwing no shade at nobody. Right. But what I'm saying is, I like to crack the nut and go a little deeper. That's it. You know what I mean? When I can.
Oh,
When somebody
I
goes with me on the
appreciate that.
journey, I do it because I want I mean, here, dude, PG, man, we got so much in common. I feel like we can be buddies, man. So, like, I would have never known that just if we talked about whatever. So, I think it's great for me. I think it's great to put that energy out there in the universe to be like, hey guys, we're here to show we're people. We struggle, we fight, we get back up, we fight another day. And if there's someone out there who's struggling and you need help, reach out to me. I will get you. Services are coming soon, and I'll get you what you need. But for to mop this one up real quick, if anybody's wondering, the next episode is going to be with the most trusted man in all of professional wrestling, the Silver Sniper, TJ Crawford.
TJ
TJ
Crawford.
Crawford. He is coming on the
Yeah.
podcast next. After
I love
him,
that dude.
Akira. Akira's after this. Um, and the brand new skinny weight champion of chaotic wrestling, Armani Chaos, are our next guests as of right now today. They are the next ones scheduled and slated. So very excited for those guys. Especially TJC. I'm just a big, maybe I'm too much of a wrestling nerd at times, but at least I'm helping them pay the rent, right? So
Yeah.
once again, sir, thank you so much for being here, and it's been a genuine honor and a privilege.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm glad to be able to come on.
All right, and everybody else, you have a great day.